Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and a little known fact about me, my wife knows not to hardly even speak to me until after I've had maybe a cup and a half of coffee in the morning. And the last thing you want to do is start giving me a list of things to do before I've had my coffee, because I tend to be like a snapping turtle and I'll snap at you. But Ray Fuentes from Link2 is different. Ray wakes up in the morning with a good attitude like this one.
We often hear of the mythical unicorns, elusive, majestic, and symbolic of untamed potential. Today, however, unicorns have a new face. They're a rare breed of startups that achieve billion-dollar valuations in a remarkably short span. They're the Ubers, the Airbnbs, the SpaceXs of our time, disruptive entities reshaping the world and creating immense value. Presenting Link2, your key to the kingdom of unicorn investments. We are democratizing the once exclusive club of unicorn investing, making the realm of high-performing assets accessible to all. With Link2, investing in these fast-growing companies becomes as straightforward as scrolling through your social media feed. Just log in, browse through our carefully curated selection of investment opportunities, and make your choice. Our rapidly expanding community of investors is a validation to this new era of democratized investing. They come from all walks of life, bound by a common purpose to unlock the potential of unicorn investments. Ready to harness the potential of unicorns? Join Link2 today and read.
That guy, Ray Fuentes, has some enthusiasm. I tell my sons all the time, 99% of life is showing up and not quitting, but having enthusiasm and being positive, I would say, is the other 0.1%. Big time. Go Ray. Go Link2. Link2 is like doing really well. All right, Michael Burry has placed a huge leverage short position on the stock market with put options, the Big Short version 2.0. So he's shorting the stock market. And then there was this. If Fitch downgrades JP Morgan, I will laugh my butt off.
There may be another downgrade coming for the banking industry. Fitch is warning it may be forced to cut the credit rating of dozens of banks, including big ones like JP Morgan. CNBC.com's Hugh Son was first to report the story. He joins us now, Hugh. So what's behind this potential move?
Hey, Mike. So I think just a little bit of context here. So Fitch, back in June, lowered its assessment of the U.S. banking industry's health from AA to AA minus. And there were no rating changes on the bank, so it went largely unnoticed. I think Fitch was actually kind of concerned at the increasing risk that they'd have to cut it another notch. So taking that industry rating from AA minus to A plus, which is one level lower. Now, the problem that introduces, Mike, is that you have four institutions, some of our top-rated credits, including JP Morgan and Bank of America, the two biggest banks in the country, that are rated currently AA minus. And you can't have banks rated higher than the operating environment in which they operate. So that would necessitate at least the examination of cutting them from AA minus to A plus. And that would potentially set off a cascade of examinations of the entire universe of banks covered by Fitch. There are more than...
Ooh, it might even initiate what Jim Rickards called ICE 9, which we'll get to in a minute. Ryan Selkis, look, oh, how the tables have turned, folks. I remember when Ripple did not get included in parties like this, but now they're all joining together. Policy speakers, this is standwithcrypto.org. Coinbase launched Stand With Crypto Alliance. I remember when there was alliances between the Ethereum guys and the SEC, but now we've got Stand With Crypto Alliances, where they actually include Ripple and do not include, well, there may be somebody from, let me see here. No. This time they've left Consensus out, maybe because they all know what they all tried to pull off. Then we've got this. We're getting a lot of funny stuff today because what comes around goes around, folks. Life can be a boomerang. Look at this. This is from Eleanor Terrett. DOJ files superseding indictment against Sam Bankman-Fried that alleges Bankman-Fried directed more than $100 million in illegal campaign contributions to Democrats and Republicans. I say, where's the responsibility of those Democrats and Republicans? Because all of them need to be held to account. It's not just Sam Bankman-Fried that was doing something illegal. They were accepting it. But here's the kicker, folks. Look at this. This indictment alleges that SBF lobbied members of Congress and other high-level government officials to promote cryptocurrency regulation that would favor his business and personal interests. This makes Gary Gensler a witness, which means Sam Bankman-Fried's lawyers would be able to cross-examine Gensler under oath at trial. It's about time that this guy gets put on the hot seat. Okay, then we've got this. Warren Davidson, as you know, he wants to make CBDCs completely illegal. Doesn't matter how they work or anything. He says, I'll admit surprise that some Twitter active XRP holders are so hyper defensive of Ripple's work on central bank digital currency. I answer a question about Tora's decision. Anyway, he's basically, he doesn't understand why some of us would defend Ripple on the CBDC work. Well, here's my position, and it's very simple. I believe that this is where the world is. I think Warren Davidson might be a Bitcoin maxi type, where he believes somehow we're just going to get rid of all of the bankers and all this. Well, I don't think that's where this is all going. I think that we're going into a digital world, and that digital world is going to involve these types of things. I think where guys like him can fight the good fight, which is a good thing. I don't disagree with Warren Davidson about the evil aspects of CBDC. The second I see any of that kind of stuff where it's like control mechanism stuff, or it's telling me what geography I can spend my money, or those are, to me, guys like him should be creating some sort of a Bill of Rights for CBDCs. In other words, the things that you can't do to infringe on our rights with a CBDC, not ban them outright and make them illegal, because I think that would hurt the digital economy in general. Well, John Deaton's going to have him on. That's the way I read this. He's been on vacation. I know some people like him are 100% against it. Crypto Law is willing to host a space. Okay, he's offering, I guess, host a space where we can respectfully discuss, and that's fine. In Davidson's defense, he did say that he was against consensus or anybody else, including his mother, doing a CBDC. But it's not that it's not that I disagree that CBDCs could be used for evil. I think nuclear can be used to bomb a city. Like I said, it can be used to blow up a city or to power a city. That's all. That's where the disagreement lies. But there's another disagreement, and that is Warren Davidson never did call for an investigation of ETHgate, and he knows full well all the evidence we have. I have a problem there too, because he's supposed to be one of the good guys. In case you don't know who Michael Barr is, now yesterday I had tweeted this out, that Gary Gensler had met, and I told you it was in the red file. Gary Gensler had met with Michael Barr over 10 times on his current calendar. He has about 4 or 5 missing months of calendars still, by the way. And we've never seen the meeting he had with Sam Bankman-Fried. It should be on one of those calendars. He's either hiding it or he deleted it off his calendar, like he did his meeting with George Soros and that woman who is or was married to an ex-president, whose name I don't say on this channel. In case you don't know who Michael Barr is, and this is a great little lineup to see. This was Rosie Rios, who's on Ripple's board with the U.S. Treasury. This right here is Sandy O'Connor, who was with J.P. Morgan. This is Michael Barr, ex-Ripple advisor. He's at the Fed. This is Robbie Mitchnick, who runs digital assets at BlackRock and left Ripple to do so. And I'm drawing a blank on this guy's name. He's former DTCC, and I can't remember his name. But anyway, there's a reason we've been here for all these years, folks. Now, let's hit the old refresh button on this. I put this together this morning, and I have a question. Was XRP, I've always told you I thought that it was created to prevent World War III. I've always thought of this world we're going off into is the U.S. has had the world reserve currency status by itself for almost 100 years. You can't keep it indefinitely. You've squandered the right to have it, in my opinion. You got your country in all its debt. So what do? You have to roll into a new system. I believe the new system can be trustless and it can be shared. And that shared system, I've always believed what made sense is for everybody to create their digital currencies. Everybody creates CBDCs and they have like a shared reserve currency status. And XRP is a bridge currency to the world. We'll watch this little video I put together.
But here's what China actually is doing. China wants to have their cake and eat it. They want to be a kind of a reserve currency without opening the capital account and building the infrastructure I just described. The way to do that is to say, well, the world reserve currency, the coming reserve currency, the thing that's going to replace the dollar, is the IMF special drawing right. So China is trying to be a reserve currency through the back door by being included in the basket that makes up the SDR. The SDR is the special drawing right. Now, if you look at that basket today, and all this information is available on the IMF website, it's what's in it. Well, it's the dollar, it's the euro, it's the yen, Swiss francs, sterling.
And where the digital assets fit in, like things like XRP and Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're kind of in that mid-range. They become, I think, like the Singapore dollar or the Swiss franc, and they become useful in, kind of lubricating the world to make it easier for those big four to get in the hands of people all around the world.
There might be a couple other currencies in there, but the point is they're all those sort of traditional hard currencies. The Chinese yuan is not included. But what people don't understand is that the IMF executive board has the ability to change the composition of the basket. They could vote to include the Chinese yuan. And that, by the way, those discussions are taking place as we speak.
IMF. Do you see IMF holding crypto assets in the future? I did not put that up there.
Remember, I'm from the legal department. I'm supposed to be very conservative about these things. I don't want to go into great details about
Maybe I should take what the IMF is going to do. I think we stunned Ross into silence with that one.
For that to happen, okay, under the current legal framework, some country would have to use a crypto asset as its currency.
Right now, the IMF annual meeting is taking place in Washington, and behind closed doors, the Chinese are discussing the mechanism and the timing of including the Chinese yuan in the SDR basket. So that's China's way of being, in effect, a global reserve currency, because once you make the SDR a reserve currency and the Chinese yuan is included, it's de facto part of the global reserve without opening up the Chinese capital account to the kind of direct capital inflows in Chinese yuan-denominated bond market that I described.
Now, and that's Jim Rickards saying he thought XRP could be an ESDR. Now, I want to make a point about what we were talking about a minute ago about Warren Davidson. See, there's a way to prevent these CBDCs from becoming a controlling thing. All you have to do, Warren, if you're listening, all you have to do is you can have two things. Since you think Bitcoin is governments can't get that and all that stuff, is you keep Bitcoin alive. And I think I've always thought maybe that's part of the reason that they kept Bitcoin alive, is like as a hedge against the potential of evil people getting in control of CBDCs and trying to do what Warren Davidson's talking about. Okay? But there's another way, and I've heard Brad Garlinghouse say it before. He said, we're not getting rid of cash. All you have to do is keep cash as an option. Keep cash as an option with the CBDCs. As long as cash is always an option and people can use it and they can hide it and all of that, then it's an option to keep the government, as long as they can spend it too, then, make it illegal to ban cash. I mean, so then we've got this, remember ICE 9? It's a good time to remember this right now.
Is preparing to realize that vision. They've literally rigged the laws of international finance. Everything is basically in place right now.
and there's essentially no way to stop this from happening. When the crisis hits, they'll flip the switch, freezing the global financial system. That will give them time to reset the world economy according to their vision. As the coming crisis unfolds, President Trump will be powerless to stop it. In fact, trying to stop them would probably weaken the president's power altogether.
That is amazing, Jim, really. So what did these elites want from your contact at BlackRock?
Basically, they want to classify BlackRock as too big to fail. The technical term is Systemically Important Financial Institution, or SIFI. That designation normally applies to banks, such as Bank of America.
All right. And this is kind of what I typed out this morning. Let me hit the old refresh button here. You have to wonder if Bitcoin and XRP will be the life rafts when they initiate ICE 9 to close the old system down and roll into a new in a financial crisis. This is a point that I don't know if I've made here in a while, but in the financial crisis, because I was there was no asset class that was safe. Everything went down. And I've always felt like when they roll into this new system, that XRP could be the equivalent of a bathtub that's filling up with water. The utility is slowly causing that water to rise. The utility, in other words, the price, utility slowly rising. And then people realize that's happening, and the speculators come in and they're buying literally, and the speculation's bouncing up and down off of the top of that rising water. In other words, an asset that can't go down with everything else in a financial crisis. That's how I've always envisioned what XRP represented. But we haven't had a utility bull run, and I believe that if I was going to initiate ICE 9 and collapse the old system, I would do it at the same time that a switch is flipped, a utility switch is flipped on whatever digital assets we're going to take us into the next 100 years. Europe has launched the first Bitcoin ETF, folks. And I said, great job, Gary Gensler and Jay Clayton. Hand over the lead to other countries. Our children are going to be living in Loserville instead of leading the way in finance. I guess you don't care since you're both already rich. And then this was a clip that was put out yesterday. I think this is the guy from Mataco that Ripple just bought. Listen to this.
The fiat currency is somewhere in the order of 700 to 800 trillion. So is the opportunity here about new assets, or is it really about the technology addressing costs and efficiencies and potentially safety, given you're eliminating intermediaries potentially as well?
Seamus, you are right that the cryptocurrencies is relatively small if you compare it with other established asset classes. But other asset classes started with a very small size as well, 20, 30 years ago.
Indeed.
So I think you have to take it serious. And even some asset managers say it's not a known asset class at the moment. And I would confirm that. I'd agree with that. It's maybe not... It's not on the same level than equities or fixed income products, but it is completely different. You need your own models, you need an own infrastructure and things like that. And I think the features that differentiate cryptocurrencies from existing traditional asset classes, that is significant, and that is one of the reasons why we said at Union Investment, well, it has not the size of an asset class, and it has not the volume and the trading volume of an asset class, but it's so completely different that we just define it as a new asset class because we have to implement a new investment process, and I think that is the leading factor for us: new investment process, new asset class, and I think it will evolve. The volume will increase. And maybe in 5, 8, 10 years, there will be no discussion about that if this is a separate asset class or something like that.
Indeed.
There you go. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family. Within 5 years, we won't even be talking about this anymore. Is that what he's saying? Thanks for listening.